Welcome to the Elevate Life Project with your host, Michael Cohan. At the Elevate Life Project, we are dedicated to inspiring people to achieve their goals and live their dreams to their highest potential. Aim higher. Elevate your life.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Elevate Life Project. I'm your host, Michael Cohan, and I'm so glad you're here with me today. Thank you for tuning in. Whether you're listening on your drive, your walk, or just grabbing a quiet moment for yourself, I appreciate you being here. Let's get into it. Today, I want to have a conversation about something that I think a lot of you are dealing with right now, even if you haven't fully admitted it to yourself, and that's change. Specifically, I want to talk about how you know when it's time to make a change in your career, in your direction, in your life. Because I think there are a lot of people out there right now who feel stuck. They feel like they're going through the motions. They wake up, they go to work, they come home, they do it all over again the next day. And somewhere in the back of their mind, there's this quiet voice saying, "Is this really it? Is this all there is?" And they push that voice down because they don't know what to do with it. But today, I want to put that voice forward and actually listen to what it's trying to tell you. Let me set the stage a little bit. There was a time, and it wasn't that long ago, when the expectation was that you would get a job and you would stay there for your entire career. Your parents or your grandparents probably did exactly that. They found a company, they put in their 30 or 40 years, they got a pension, and then they retired. That was the model. That was what success looked like. But that world doesn't really exist anymore. The economy has changed. Industries have changed. Technology has changed. And honestly, we've changed too. The idea of doing the same thing for 40 years in the same place sounds less like sustainability to a lot of people and more like a prison sentence. And I don't say that to be dramatic. I say that because I've talked to a lot of people who feel exactly that way, but are afraid to admit it. So let's be honest about how most of us end up where we are. Most of the people choose their current job or career because it met a need at the time. Maybe you needed money. Maybe you needed stability. Maybe it was the first opportunity that came along after college or after a layoff. Maybe someone offered it to you and you said yes because you didn't have a better option. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. We all have bills to pay and responsibilities to meet. But here's the question I want you to sit with. Just because something was right for you then, doesn't that mean is it still right for you now? Because here's what happens over time. You grow, you change, your needs evolve. The thing that excited you 5 years ago might bore you today. The challenge that once kept you sharp might feel like a hamster wheel. And slowly, without even noticing, that job that once felt like a great fit starts to feel like a pair of shoes that are 2 sizes too small. You can still wear them, you can still walk in them, but they're uncomfortable. They're holding you back. And every day you keep wearing them, you're sacrificing a little bit of who you could become. And yet, so many people stay. They stay because the job pays the bill. They stay because it's easy enough and they've gotten comfortable. They stay because they don't know what else they would do. And that last one, that's the one that really gets me. Because what that really means is, I've stopped dreaming. I stopped imagining what else is possible for me. I've resigned myself to this being my life. And I want to push back on that with everything in me because that is not what we're put here to do. We're not put on this earth to just get by. You are not designed to spend decades in mediocrity just because you can't think of an alternative. That's not living. That's existing. And there's a massive difference between the two. And I want to say something that might sound a little provocative, and I mean it with love. If you're sitting in a job right now that you have zero passion for, that doesn't challenge you, that doesn't make you feel alive, and the only reason you're staying is because you don't know what else to do, then honestly, a layoff might be the best thing that could ever happen to you. Now, I know that sounds crazy. Nobody wants to get laid off, but sometimes we need that push. Sometimes we need the universe to close the door because we're too afraid to walk away from it on our own. And when that door closes, suddenly you're forced to get creative. You're forced to think about what you actually want. And that's where the magic starts. But ideally, you don't wait for that. Ideally, you make the decision on your own terms. So let me help you figure out what to know and how to know when it's time. Think back when you first started in your current position. There was something about it that drew you in, something that made you say, yes. Maybe it was the challenge. Maybe it was the novelty. It was something completely new that excited you. Maybe it was the people or the mission or the opportunity to grow. Whatever it is, or whatever it was, there was a spark there. Something that made you feel alive and engaged. Now, I want to ask yourself a question honestly. Is that spark still there? Because if it is, great. Keep going, keep building. But if that spark is gone, if the thing that once drew you in had faded and all you're left with is a routine and obligation, then that's your signal. That's the universe tapping you on the shoulder and saying, hey, it might be time. And I think one of the reasons people resist that signal is because they feel like changing directions means they failed. Like admitting that this isn't working anymore is somehow a weakness. But I want to reframe that for you completely. Recognizing that you've outgrown something isn't failure, it's awareness, it's growth. It's actually one of the smartest, most courageous things you can do because it means you're paying attention to your life instead of sleepwalking through it. And that leads me to something that I think is really profound, and I really want to let this sink in. You're not the same person you used to be. I mean that literally. The person you were 10 years ago, the way you thought, the things that you valued, the dreams you had, the fears you carried, that person is different from who you are today. And it's not just 10 years. You're not even the same person you were 10 weeks ago or 10 days ago. Every experience you had, every conversation, every challenge, every failure, every success, all of it has shaped you. All of it has changed you. Growth comes from experiencing life. And you've been showing up and engaging with your life in a meaningful way. You have grown whether you realize it or not. And here's the thing about growth it doesn't stop. You don't reach a point where you're done evolving. So, why would you commit to a career or a path that was chosen by a version of you that no longer exists? The person who took the job 5 or 10 or 20 years ago made the best decision they could with the information and the awareness they had at the time. But you have more information now. You have more awareness. You have more clarity about who you are and what matters to you. And honoring that growth means being willing to change directions when the old path no longer fits. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Okay, Michael, I hear you. But where do I even start? I don't know what I want to do next. And I get that. It can feel paralyzing when you know you need a change, but you have no idea what that change looks like. So let me give you a way to start finding that clarity, because the answers are actually closer than you think. They're in your past. And here's what I want you to do. Think back over your entire life, not just your career, but everything. Think about all the things you've done, the jobs you've held, the hobbies you've had, the projects you've taken on, the things you did just for fun. And for each one, I want you to ask yourself, what did I get out of that? And what was it about that experience that I loved? Was it the challenge? Was it the creativity? Was it building something from scratch? Was it being in service of other people? Was it variety? Was it the sense of accomplishment? Dig into that because there's a pattern in your history, and those patterns tell you something important about who you are and what lights you up. And then I want you to think about what caused you to stop each one of those things or change direction. Why did you leave a job? Why did you give up on that hobby? What shifted? Because understanding your past decisions, even the ones that didn't work out, gives you incredible insight into how you think and what drives you. The past isn't a predictor of your future, but is a window into your patterns. And when you can see your patterns clearly, you can make much wiser choices going forward. You can look at a new opportunity and say, based on what I know about myself, is this going to fulfill me? Or is this going to be another version of what I just left? That kind of self knowledge is priceless. And as you go through this process, you might discover something about yourself that surprises you. You might realize that you're not meant to do just one thing. You might realize that the reason you've bounced around or lost interest or felt restless isn't because something is wrong with you. It's because you're someone who thrives on variety and new challenges. Some people are just wired that way. They light up when they get involved in something new. They love learning, creating, building, exploring. They're multi-talented and multi-passionate, and trying to force themselves into one narrow lane feels suffocating. And if that sounds like you, I want you to hear this. There is nothing wrong with you. You're not flaky. You're not unfocused. You might just be a contrarian thinker. You might be someone who sees the world differently, who needs stimulation and growth and change to feel alive. And instead of fighting that, I want you to embrace it. What if you designed your life and your career around the truth instead of trying to fit yourself into a box that was never meant for you? Because at the end of the day, this is what it all comes down to. Life is short, shorter than any of us want to admit, and the years go by faster than you think. So spending those years doing something that doesn't fulfill you, that doesn't fascinate you, that doesn't make your heart sing, that's not just a waste of time. It's a waste of you. It's a waste of everything you have to offer the world. And I'm not staying quiet. I'm not saying quit your job tomorrow. I'm not saying be reckless. I'm saying be honest. Be honest about whether the life you're living now is the life you actually want. Be honest about whether you've outgrown where you are. Be honest about whether you're staying out of the comfort zone rather than conviction. And if the answer to any of these questions make you uncomfortable, good. That discomfort is information. That discomfort is growth knocking on your door and asking if you're ready. So here's my challenge to you this week. Take some time, even just 30 minutes, and to do the exercise I've talked about. Look back at your life. Write down the things you've done, what you loved about them, and why you've moved on. Look for the patterns. Start to build a picture of what actually fulfills you. Because the picture is your compass. And once you have it, the question of whether to change or not to change starts to answer itself. You're not the same person you used to be, and the life you're living should reflect who you are now, not who you were 5 or 10 or 20 years ago. If what you're doing right now doesn't light you up, if the spark is gone, if you're just going through the motions, then now is the time to change. Not someday, not when the conditions are perfect. Now. All right, that's what I got for you today. If this episode spoke to you, share it with someone who you know is feeling stuck right now. Subscribe if you haven't already and leave us a review. That's what helps us reach more people, and it means so much to me. To write us a review, open up this podcast in your app and search for the Elevate Life Project. And if you want to discover your true purpose, head over to our website at elevatelifeproject.com. It might be exactly the starting point you need right now. And as always, aim higher and elevate your life.
Thank you for listening to the Elevate Life Project. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you like our show, please write us a review. By writing us a review, you will help raise our profile so more people can find our show. Links to our sponsors and other tools can be found in our show notes, along with other useful information. For more information on our coaching classes, please visit our website at elevatelifeproject.com and sign up for our newsletter. Remember, aim higher, elevate your life.
Please.